Hi, in today's video I'd like to show you how to contribute to Bitcoin design community. This video is intended for complete beginners who have no prior understanding on open source, GitHub, building websites locally, and similar stuff. So do not worry, the intention is to guide you step by step through first understanding the concept of open source and how that works, and then submitting your first change to an open source project like Bitcoin.design. So let's begin. Bitcoin.design is a project hosted on the internet. When you access its domain name Bitcoin.design, you'll see this beautiful website. And let's say that you want to contribute to it. So what should you know? The first thing you should know is that, like any other website, what powers the Bitcoin.design is code behind it. However, certain web applications like Facebook, for example, do not show you what the code actually does. The code is hidden and you cannot know what is it that it's doing. However, in open source software, like the name says, the code is open sourced, which means that the source code can be viewed by anybody on the internet. And the platform that hosts this source code of the Bitcoin.design specifically is GitHub. You may have heard of GitHub. Very simply said, it's a collaborative platform where people can create software all in the open. This is an organization page. An organization page basically hosts all of the projects that are under these organizations. And if you click on a guide, then you're in a repository. You can think of a repository as a very simple folder which hosts all of the files related to a specific project, in our case, Bitcoin design. So what you see here is basically everything that powers the Bitcoin.design website. And this is what open source means. It means that you can view any of these and you will be able to audit it and know what it does. Of course, as a beginner contributor, there is no need to do that. But if you're a developer, you can definitely take a look at the code and what it does, how it works. Whereas, for example, if you have a closed source application as Facebook, you can see only the front end, but you really don't know what are they doing with your data, where are they sending it, what the code is actually executing and stuff like that. Whereas in open source, everything is open and hosted in the cloud. And once again, GitHub is a platform which hosts this code for us in a cloud. What is very good about open source is that anybody can participate into and contribute to building an open source project. Let's first get into what GitHub is. As I said, it's a code hosting platform. But it does not host only the code for the website. It is a collaboration platform, which means that it encourages people to collaborate together and build this code. Quite briefly, that means that anybody on the internet can view the changes and can create their own copy on the website, create certain change, and then submit their change to the Bitcoin design community to review and publish it. So in a way, it's like having a newspaper where people would, submit their own articles to the newspaper and that newspaper is being printed out. It works the same. You submit your own content change. The editors, or in this case, they're called maintainers of the repository and not the newspaper, are basically reviewing this, merging it in, and that's how it works. Then the new version of the website is being published. But besides the code, GitHub, as I said, encourages collaboration. And you can see here the code, and you can also see the issues. Issues are basically, in a way, tickets or support tickets that people submit if they find a problem or they want to solve something on the Bitcoin.design. So you can open a ticket very easily if you find a problem, or you can view the tickets that people submitted and see if there are certain tickets that you may contribute to. Besides tickets, where everybody, like if you have a GitHub account, you can submit your own ticket, you can comment on it, you can view the tickets, you can maybe, read them and then leave your comment, your ideas, you can submit your own feedback. That's the beauty of open source software. Everything here is open and collaborative. Besides tickets, we also have here requests in this tab here. And a pull request is basically a suggested change. As I said, the code here is the main code of the website. People can very easily copy this code on their own computers, submit a change, and then submitted change is called a pull request. Basically, a pull request is a suggestion that something should be changed in the software itself or in the code. Or in our case, Bitcoin.design. You can see here that somebody suggested to add something, to improve something, and then community basically reviews these changes, and once they're accepted, then maintainers, or as I mentioned earlier, editors, merge them into the main code, and then they appear in the main code. That is how GitHub works. For now, it is important to note that you shouldn't be overwhelmed with the folders, text here. You should know that everybody are encouraged to read through issues, tickets, and comment of them to get to know with the community first what's needed. And if you don't know how to contribute, you can go through discussions, become the part of community first. There is really no need to submit the change right away. Also, you can help by reviewing a pull request as well, but that's a topic for another video. I just want to give you a perspective on how you can contribute to this community. Now that you know the basics here, the next thing I would like to show you is how you can create a copy of your own code on your computer. So first thing you will need is a GitHub account. Go to github.com, of course, create username, email, and password, and sign up for GitHub. Once you have your GitHub account, I'll meet you at the next step. So now that you're logged into your account, what we want to do is create our own copy in a cloud of the Bitcoin design guidelines so that we can do changes on our own code and then later submit them, push them to community to review. Copying the code in your own environment is called forking. So we are creating a fork of the Bitcoin design. To do that, you simply need to click fork in the upper corner here. And what forking a repository does is basically copies the code under your own account. So now you will see your own username. In my case, my username is here, and then you'll see guide, and you'll see that it is a fork or a copy of Bitcoin design guide, which means that any changes that you do here in your own environment won't be yet visible here because they need to be in the main repository, which is this one. But the process of submitting your own change there first means that you want to do it on your own copy, then you want to suggest that in the form of a pull request, and then the maintainers, or as I said, the newspaper editors, need to review that code and merge it in and publish a new version. That's how any open source software works, not just Bitcoin design guidelines. So now you have your own copy in a cloud, and in GitHub specifically, you can also do changes here on the web. However, it's not the most flexible solution. So what I want to suggest to you next is that we copy over this from the cloud of GitHub into our own computer. So to do that, we'll need two types of software. So first, download GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop is also like a locally hosted application on your computer, which will help you manage GitHub issues, forks, everything. And it has pretty decent user interface, which will help you understand how things work. So download the GitHub Desktop for your operating system here. Another thing we need to have is also a text editor. I suggest for beginners either Sublime Text or Atom, whichever you prefer. I will download Sublime Text. Both of these are free and they're basically just the text editors. You can, of course, code in them, but for now, just download GitHub Desktop and Sublime Text, and I'll see you in the next step. So now you installed and open GitHub Desktop application. So this is application on my Windows, but no matter if you're running Mac or Linux, it's pretty similar interface. So now we want to clone a repository from the internet into our own computer, into a folder on our own computer. So just click clone repository from the internet. And now you'll be asked to sign in. So sign in with your GitHub account, and you can do that from directly from the browser. Authorize the application, and as soon as you log in, you'll see a repository in the corner here, the one which we already cloned, so our own copy of Bitcoin Design Guideline. It's now visible here. So you can click here from the list of your repositories, or you can just go clone repository from the internet and then pick it here. Select a folder where you want this cloned. So in my case, I will clone it in, I will select a folder in downloads and then GitHub. You can pick any folder that you like, any folder that you will easily remember where it is. So select a folder. You can also use default, nothing wrong with it, and click clone. So what we are doing now is we are cloning the version we have in the copy of the Bitcoin Design Guide version that we have in cloud. We are cloning it on our computer in downloads folder. GitHub now will ask you how are you planning to use this fork. You'll most likely see this warning. If you don't see it, that's also okay. If you do see it, just click to contribute to parent project. And now we've cloned the copy that we had on the cloud into our computer. Let's preview it now. You can preview it directly by looking into Show in Explorer, and you'll see that it is in Downloads folder, GitHub Guide in my case. And this is the code here. Does this look familiar to you? Yes, that is exactly the same code that we were seeing on GitHub. But now we have it on our computer so that we can easily edit it. That's it for this first video. In the next video, I'll teach you a little bit more on how to contribute. But for now, let's just recap that open source software code is hosted on the internet where everybody can view, participate in discussion, and submit their suggestions in forms of pull requests. In our case, the code for Bitcoin design is hosted on a flat platform called GitHub, which hosts the code, but not only the code, it also provides a great way for community to communicate and submit changes. They also provide great reviewing tools for people to review those changes. So you don't need to have an access to this. Everything is open and you can participate. What we did next is we forked the code from Bitcoin Design Guide into our own copy of the code on the cloud. And then we used GitHub Desktop to simply clone this onto our own computer. And that's it. There are other ways to clone this locally on PC, but I wanted to show GitHub Desktop because of the things we'll do later on. So in this first video, congratulations, you have your own copy of Bitcoin Design Guide on your computer. And in the next video, we'll look into contributing to it and providing our own changes for maintainers to review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.